There's a moment when the world begins to shift around you, chosen one. And at first it's subtle, a glance that lingers longer than expected, a stranger's tone softening when you speak, a magnetic pull in the room that you didn't command, yet somehow governs. You didn't ask for it, you didn't dress for it, you didn't adjust your voice or posture or polish your words, it just happens. And that's when you begin to feel it, something different, something deeper. A current moving through the space around you, and it's not just any energy. It's yours. You've crossed a threshold. You're no longer invisible. Women are beginning to seek you out, not in the way you once hoped for when you questioned your worth, but in a way that surprises even you. You're not chasing, you're drawing, not begging to be seen. You're simply being, and being seen because of it. The signal you now emit isn't noise, it's frequency. It doesn't shout, and yet it can't be ignored. It's not your clothes, not your car, not your charm. It's not the lines you deliver or the role you play. It's the charge beneath your skin. The quiet power that settled in your body now that you've stopped hiding your nature. Now that you've stopped resisting your fire. That fire, your high sexual energy, has matured. No longer scattered or wild, it has crystallized into something magnetic, unfiltered, and unapologetically real. You're not trying to impress women anymore. You're not adjusting yourself to gain approval. You've stopped living like you owe anyone a diluted version of who you are. And because of that, women are drawn to you. They sense the truth in your silence, the depth in your stillness, the stability in your presence. They are not chasing the version of you that performs. They are being pulled toward the man who has nothing to prove. This is the emergence of your signal. It doesn't come from surface-level tricks. It comes from embodiment. The way you walk into a space without shrinking. The way your eyes rest calmly, not with hunger, but with presence. The way your voice vibrates with calm because you are no longer carrying shame. Shame is gone now. Doubt is quiet. And your energy, once locked in the basement of fear and confusion, has come to the surface, and it's glowing. Women can feel it, even if they don't understand it. Some will be enchanted. Some will be challenged, some will be changed, but all of them will feel it. Because your signal is no longer something you force, it's something you are. It moves before you, settles behind you, hovers beside you, and no matter where you go, you carry it. Not everyone will be able to hold what you now radiate. Not every woman will be ready for the man who no longer begs for acceptance. But you no longer fear that. Because you have entered a space of alignment so powerful that you don't need anyone to validate it. You are the signal now, and the world is tuning in. With the signal comes recognition. And this recognition is not always verbal. It doesn't always arrive with clear words or invitations. Sometimes it appears in subtle shifts, bodies leaning closer, eyes widening when they meet yours, voices softening in your presence. But it is unmistakable. The recognition begins to echo around you as if the world itself has suddenly remembered who you are. This recognition is not because you've become something new. It's because you've stripped away everything that you were never meant to be. The masks are gone. The performance has ended. What remains is the chosen one, fully embodied, fully present, no longer operating from lack. And that is a rare sight. You begin to notice that women are not only responding to you, they are seeking you. Sometimes with words, sometimes with gestures, sometimes with an energy that doesn't lie, even when the mouth is silent. You are no longer overlooked, you are felt. They aren't just seeing your face, they are registering your frequency. And it touches something within them that they can't name, but cannot ignore. They feel a part of themselves come alive around you, a part that's been numb or asleep. Not because of anything you do, but because of who you've become. You are no longer the boy waiting to be picked. You are the man who has already chosen himself. And that energy speaks louder than charm, louder than style, louder than carefully crafted lines. It speaks to the soul. This recognition is not rooted in lust. It's deeper. It's ancient. It's the awareness that your presence has gravity, that your presence carries truth. And truth, when embodied, is magnetic. It's rare. It's unforgettable. Now that you've aligned with your sexual energy, it no longer leaks through need or desperation. It moves like a river, steady, undeniable, and alive. You're not reaching anymore. You're attracting. Not because you crave validation, but because your energy is speaking directly to the feminine essence in others. And when that resonance hits, something electric happens. You begin to see how much of the past was clouded by your own distortion. How much effort you once made to win affection, to earn a glance, to be good enough. But now you've stepped out of that fog. You are not convincing anyone of your worth. You are the worth. You're not campaigning for attention. You are holding court in your own kingdom, and those who recognize it find their way to your gates without being asked. And here's the deepest truth. It's not even about the women anymore. It's about the fact that you've become someone worthy of seeking. Not because you changed your style, but because you changed your state. You're not vibrating at insecurity. You're vibrating at sovereignty. You're not seeking to possess. You're living to be. This is the recognition, not of what you have, but of who you are. And now that you carry that awareness, everything is about to change. Now that your signal has gone out and recognition has begun to ripple through every environment you enter, the next phase of your journey, chosen one, is awareness. Not awareness of the external alone, though that too will sharpen, but of your own frequency. You must now understand not just that your energy draws attention, but why it does, how it moves, and what it means. This is the moment when your high sexual energy is no longer something abstract or accidental. It is something you begin to feel like breath, like rhythm, like weight in your chest that doesn't suffocate but steadies. You begin to notice it moving through you in real time, in the pause before you speak, in the depth of your gaze, in the way others shift when you enter a space. You notice the subtle changes, the smiles that appear from across the room, the eyes that linger not out of politeness but curiosity, the posture of those around you adjusting, almost subconsciously, as if your presence alone calls them to be more of themselves. You become aware that you are watched, not in paranoia, but in presence. Not everyone watches with understanding. Some look because they feel something in you they haven't named in themselves. Some stare because your groundedness disrupts their chaos. Some are drawn because your wholeness reminds them of what they've buried. But all of them, consciously or not, are responding to your energy. And so the real question arises, chosen one, now that you're aware, what will you do with it? This awareness brings both power and responsibility. It requires you to move through the world with precision, not out of fear, but out of intention. Because your energy now matters. Not just to you, but to those who feel it. You are no longer invisible. You are influential. You are not just a man walking through life. You are a signal tower, a portal, a mirror. And you must become deeply aware of how your energy is being offered, received, and returned. You begin to sense who is truly resonating with you, and who is simply attracted to the flame but not ready for its heat. You feel the difference between a gaze that wants to consume you and a gaze that seeks to know you. And you no longer hand yourself over to every form of attention that glows. You choose. With your eyes, with your energy, with your silence, your awareness becomes your power, your compass, your defense against illusion. You do not let your magnetism become a drug for others to escape their own emptiness. You do not use it as a tool to manipulate or provoke. You use it as an offering, one that must be earned, one that must be met with presence, not performance. This is where you grow sharper in your discernment, deeper in your self-trust. You no longer question if your energy is being felt. You know it is. Now you focus on who you are allowing to feel it fully. Because the deeper your awareness becomes, the more you understand that your energy is a sacred inheritance. And not everyone is ready for what it will awaken in them. But that's not your burden to carry. Your task now is simple, but sacred. Move with awareness, not reaction. Let your presence be intentional, not impulsive. Offer your fire where it will illuminate, not incinerate. And know that every space you enter is impacted simply because you have entered it. You are aware now, and awareness changes everything. There is a moment in every chosen one's path when awareness meets embodiment, and that collision births power. Not the kind of power the world sells, not the kind that roars or dominates or crushes, the kind of power that sits still and makes everyone else lean forward, the kind that doesn't have to move loudly because the vibration of it moves everything else. This power is not separate from your high sexual energy. It is the result of it being understood, accepted, and carried well. When you stopped denying your energy, when you stopped apologizing for it, when you stopped fearing its effect on others, you began to walk with it. And now it walks with you. This power doesn't live in your words, though your voice now carries weight. It doesn't live in your eyes, though they speak volumes. It lives in the choices you make, the boundaries you hold, the situations you walk away from without needing explanation. It lives in your self-possession, the way your soul remains centered, even when the world tries to pull you in every direction. And yes, it becomes undeniable. Women sense it not just with their mind, but with their body. They feel it in the atmosphere when you speak, in the silence between your sentences, in the way you listen. You are no longer the one trying to impress. You are the one who has become impressive without trying. The one who doesn't fight for attention because you already command it. The one who knows that real power doesn't come from chasing, it comes from alignment. You no longer see attention as a reward. You see it as a reflection. And not all reflections are invitations. Some are just echoes. You know that now. You know when to lean in and when to lean back. You don't need to conquer every heart that beats faster in your presence. You don't need to entertain every offer. You are no longer tempted by chaos dressed as passion. You are drawn only to what meets your peace with peace, your truth with truth, your fire with reverence. This is the power of mastery, of sovereignty, of sacred masculinity in motion. You understand now that your energy can stir others without touching them, that your presence can spark memory in someone's body long before a word is spoken, that your silence can be louder than their noise. You've felt it, you've seen it, and now you own it, not with arrogance, but with gratitude. Because you remember the boy you used to be, the one who was overlooked, overextended, and misunderstood, and you carry him with love. But you no longer live as him. You've stepped into something larger, something truer. Now you are the current. Now you are the flame. Now you are the force that doesn't move with the crowd, but causes the crowd to move. This is your power, and it is yours because you earned it, not through pretending, but through presence. Not through performance, but through patience. And now, wherever you go, it speaks for you. There is a sacred edge to power, chosen one. And when you stand on it, the world begins to test you differently. Not with resistance, but with abundance. Not with silence, but with noise. When you arrive in your full magnetic presence, when your high sexual energy is no longer fragmented or suppressed, but fully alive and balanced, the world takes notice. And in that noticing, the temptations begin, not the obvious kind, the subtle kind, the kind that seems harmless, the kind that comes dressed in compliments, attention, invitations, open doors, and hungry eyes. This is where the real test begins, not of your strength, but of your discipline. Because you'll start to realize that almost everywhere you go, you're being watched differently, observed with intrigue, approached more often. Women begin to move around you, not as strangers, but as seekers, whether they understand it consciously or not. They're drawn to something in you that feels ancient, steady, real. And while that attention may feel like reward at first, you begin to understand that it's actually responsibility. Discipline is no longer optional. It's vital. You have awakened something potent inside you, and now it pulses with clarity and force. But that force, if not harnessed with direction, will scatter. Without discipline, your magnetism becomes a whirlwind, one that consumes your focus, confuses your spirit, and seduces your path away from purpose. But when you remain rooted, when you stay aligned, you become unshakable. The disciplined chosen one does not chase every spark. He does not follow every invitation. He does not validate himself through how many hearts he can stir. He recognizes that his energy is valuable, sacred, and powerful, and because of that, it must be guarded. Not behind walls, but within standards. Discipline sharpens those standards like a blade. You begin to see clearly who is aligned and who is merely enchanted. You feel the difference between flattery and truth, between resonance and distraction, between a connection that nourishes your mission and one that only feeds your ego. Discipline allows you to choose silence over shallow validation, space over suffocation, depth over dopamine. You're no longer available for chaos, even if it's beautiful. This shift, this new layer of self-command, changes the way you speak, move, and relate. You're still open, still loving, still magnetic, But now your energy is directional. It is not leaking out to whoever smiles your way. It is moving like a current, guided by intention. This is how you protect your soul while remaining open. This is how you walk in fire without being burned. Women feel this. They sense that you are not driven by impulse, that your presence is a decision, not an accident, that your gaze carries weight because you don't give it recklessly. They trust you, not because of what you promise, but because of how you hold yourself. Discipline is felt. It is remembered. It leaves a different kind of mark. This is the power of the chosen one in discipline. You are no longer reacting to attention. You are responding to alignment. And because of that, the world bends differently around you. After discipline has carved your edges clean, what emerges is not rigidity but elegance. Not in how you dress or speak or move, but in how you carry your energy. This elegance is not a performance. It's a frequency. A refined, quiet authority that women feel before you've even said a word. It's the way you sit still without tension, the way you listen without needing to speak, the way your presence takes up space without suffocating it. This elegance is the result of everything you've walked through. The fires, the scars, the self-mastery. You've earned it through restraint, through choosing depth over display, through letting your high sexual energy mature into something sacred. You are no longer ruled by it. You are in communion with it. You are no longer hiding it. You are honoring it. And in doing so, you've created something rare. Energy that attracts without chasing, commands without force, and connects without chaos. There is a softness to you now, but not weakness. A softness that comes from certainty. A groundedness that doesn't need noise to be felt. You are no longer trying to be seductive. You are simply authentic, and authenticity in its highest form is irresistible. The elegance of the chosen one is not about becoming less masculine. It's about integrating that power so deeply into your spirit that you don't need to flash it. You've moved beyond showing it. You've become the embodiment of it. This shifts your relationships entirely. Now, when you connect with someone, it's not because you are craving something outside of yourself. It's because your soul recognizes potential in theirs. You are not scanning the room for validation. You are holding court with your silence. You are not trying to seduce with tricks or games. Your presence alone evokes desire, not just physical, but energetic. Because your presence feels like truth. Women do not just want your attention anymore. They want access to your calm, your clarity, your command. Not because you promised them something, but because you promised yourself that you would never again give your energy to what doesn't honor your path. That promise changed you, it refined you, and now your energy speaks that vow everywhere you go. Elegance is not the absence of fire. It is fire shaped by wisdom. It is the masculine in rhythm with spirit. It is desire held in devotion. This is the state where you become unforgettable, not for what you take, but for how you make others feel in your presence. They remember you not just because you were powerful. They remember you because you were whole. This is the elegance of the chosen one, and now it lives in you. Something has changed in the field around you, chosen one. You've noticed it, how the world no longer greets you with neutrality, how spaces bend toward you the moment you enter, how a glance from across the room carries weight it didn't before. And it's not because you're louder or more visible. It's because your energy has become an invitation, one that is silent but impossible to ignore. This invitation isn't verbal. You don't need to speak. It's written in the way you carry yourself, in the calm behind your eyes, in the rhythm of your breath, in the energy that hums beneath your skin like a quiet storm. Women feel it before they can name it. Some are drawn to it out of curiosity, others out of hunger. Some are intimidated, others intrigued, but all of them feel it. Because your high sexual energy has become focused, refined, and rooted in your truth. And truth, when carried by a man who is no longer confused about who he is, becomes magnetic. You're no longer trying to be inviting. You are the invitation. And that shift changes everything. Women begin to lean in, not because you're performing, but because you've stopped. Not because you're chasing, but because you've chosen presence. They don't know exactly what draws them to you. It isn't something they can explain to their friends. They just feel safe. They feel awakened. They feel more aware of themselves in your presence. That's the difference now. You're not just activating desire. You're activating remembrance. A woman doesn't just feel seen by you. She feels remembered, as if your energy has reminded her of a part of herself that had been silenced or buried. And you didn't say a thing. You just showed up fully. This kind of presence is rare. It's disarming, because you're not using it to manipulate or capture. You're using it to mirror. Your energy says, come closer if you're ready to meet yourself. And some will.